Hello, twisted humans.
Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting?
Then this is the podcast for you. I'm Alecia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is
Twisted and Uncorked. Now you may compliment me.
I love that shirt.
No, I'm joking.
It is super cute. Is it connected to the piece that's underneath, or did you just, have a see-through thing and put it on top of a shirt?
Yeah. I have
like
two
it.
of them. I have one in blue, too. That's the same color as my mic.
Nice.
Yes. It is nice. Sometimes I get to be fancy at work. And I'm wearing navy beta brands, like a classy bitch.
Yes.
But I'm going to
Beta
get...
brands, sponsor us.
Yes, please. I'm going to get really hot really fast, so I might have to
same.
mid-time change my pants or just take my pants off. Whatever happens first. We're recording pantsless for episode 27, apparently.
Apparently.
Welcome to Twisted and Uncorked. You never know. That might get us more listeners. Okay, Sierra? Don't discriminate.
That's true. That's true. Look, everybody has strange kinks.
Right? You never know. No judge.
Foreshadowing.
Bum, bum, bum.
Hey, do you like roller coasters?
I do, but I have a feeling you're about to ruin it for me.
I fucking love roller coasters. However, I do have this really interesting thing about roller coasters.
Okay.
So one time, a Lithuanian man came up with I had the word that I wanted to use and I lost it. Concept, there we go. Had this concept that he drew out of a euthanasia coaster.
What?
So literally a death machine in the form of a roller coaster.
That's so fucked.
So, if you know that you're already going to die anyway, and you're like, I want to decide when I die and how I die, because, people with terminal illnesses and things like that.
Who in their right mind would pick a roller coaster, though?
I don't know. It might seem kind of fun.
That's
terrifying. It is capable of holding up to 24 passengers. Once they're all on board, there is a very slow ascent to the top, which is 510 feet in the air, which is just a little bit smaller than the tallest building in America.
No big deal.
Yeah, and it goes really, really slow just in case they have second thoughts and they're like, no, I don't want to actually do it. But once they get up to the top, everyone has to push the button to start the ride. If one person doesn't push the button, then it doesn't go. Everybody has to push a button together to say that, yes, I really do want to do this. It's like jury selection. Are you sure he's guilty? Yes. Are you sure he's... everyone has to agree.
What?
And then there is a drop at a speed of 223 miles per hour. And it goes in a big loop and then a smaller and smaller and smaller loop. And at the end, you die from lack of oxygen to your brain.
What?
Yeah.
That's so fucked up. I'm not going to be able to get on a roller coaster anymore without thinking about this. I don't think I breathed the entire time you were talking to.
It's weird for sure. But I think it's obviously it's not real. It's just a concept. It's an idea. But at least, it would give people the option of choosing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I hear you. Man.
Crazy, huh?
I don't even know. I think the show's over now. I think this is... I don't even know how to move forward from that.
Tell me something fun. Or spooky.
It's not fun. It's about an octopus with a detachable penis.
Oh?
There's a type of octopus called an argonaut, and it has one arm longer than all of the others, known as a hectoculus, which is used to transfer sperm to the female.
It's penis.
Yeah, so he can detach it and just give it to her. So
wait, what?
During the mating process, he'll remove his penis arm and give it to her.
Hectoculus.
Yeah, give it to her. And it's got a funnel mantle locking apparatus, like a Chinese finger thing. So once she puts it inside of her, it's stuck there. So that, and she just swims around with it for a little while with all the sperms in there. So the real bummer in this is that the male octopus never gets his penis back.
Oh.
So he can only mate once. So this feels very much like a hole in evolution's plan for this little dude.
It feels very much like a woman got cheated on and decided to cut her husband's penis off.
Right? And swim away with it. Stored
Swim
inside
away.
of her. But yeah, isn't that fucked up? And then the female can mate as many times as she wants. She'll just take all of the detachable dicks, but yeah. There's that.
Wow.
And
There
they're
is that.
tiny. They're like the tiniest octopus. The male is only about 1 inch, and the female is about 8 inches long.
Oh.
Yeah. So not only
So
does
it's
he have
a tiny large penis.
it's a tiny detachable penis on top of it. Yeah. So there's that. I learned that nightmare fuel today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is that.
If anybody's still here, they're clutching their wine glasses right about now after those two facts.
And what are we drinking?
So I'm like 90% sure that we've never done a Sauvignon Blanc before on the show, which is a white grape varietal. Today we're specifically drinking one that originates in Chile called Menina, which means noble, fun fact. And it's fairly neutral in terms of notes and brings a dry, acidic, crisp taste. So it's not going to be Sierra's favorite if I know her. But anytime I get to have a glass of wine with this lovely lady and talk to all of you, I'm a happy girl. So
True. It says, in a South America village, there was once a woman of such captivating beauty that her people called her Menina, girl of my eye.
I love
As her
that.
beauty cast a spell over those around her, this wine will memorize your senses.
Oh, but maybe that's why her name means noble.
Yeah, maybe.
That makes sense.
I don't know.
And yes, I did just pour a splash of my energy drink into my wine glass like a trash goblin. Aha! We're always the same. That's so fucking funny.
Needed it for this work day.
Yeah, right. And I grabbed it on my work break today. It's fine to go to the liquor store in the middle of the day, right?
It happens.
And typically Sauv Blancs have a kaleidoscope of aromas, including in cooler climates, grassy, asparagus-y, bell pepper-y, or heavy citrus fruits. Like pink grapefruit, for example. And sometimes... And pineapple, yes. And sometimes gooseberry. And warmer areas, it typically has evolved to have sweeter notes like elderflower, kiwi, and passion fruits.
Nice.
Yeah. So, cheers to episode 27. Thanks, Sierra.
Mm-hmm.
You got us. Today we are bringing you a serial killer case because, that's how it goes when we wrap up our categories.
We're here
Again. We made it. We're still doing the damn thing.
Can we mention, by the way, so the first serial killer that we ever did together was Ted Bundy. And when we did that, Alecia did all the research and all the notes, and it was awesome. And our second ever serial killer was when we did Israel Keys, and I did all the research and all the notes, and it was pretty good. I had to do a bonus because there was so much more, but it was pretty good.
It was really good. Don't even. You killed
Thanks.
that.
And then this time we decided to split up everything. So the first episode obviously is going to be by Alecia. The second episode is going to be by me, but the first episode is written by Alecia and the second episode is written by me. Mm-hmm. So you can see our different writing styles. Yeah, I'm so excited.
For the same characters. So
yes.
Yeah, like they're a bad movie or something. They really are. And today we are talking about Paul Bernardo and Karla Homolka. We're going over to the Canadian side of this podcast. Mm-hmm. I'm ashamed to have them in our club. So yeah, we'll just dive into this nightmare. So first we got to get to know the two a little bit, right?
Definitely.
Though, hold on. I got to position accordingly so that I can see Sierra. I figured out how to split my computer screen the other day, And it was the best thing I've ever learned how to do.
By the way, everyone, if you're watching this on YouTube, this is my new office space.
It's so cute. It's so cute. I love it so much. Okay, so we're going to start with Paul, since, he's the older of the two, and we're going in chronological order here. Hold on, I need a swig first.
It's
not bad.
With
I did a little splash. It's pretty good. Well, because that's already citrusy, right? So, stole it. Oh, Sierra's trying my second version of trash sangria, which is Monster mixed with wine.
Oh, that's amazing.
Now you understand why I do shit like this.
Well, I usually don't want to have caffeine drinks in the nighttime. It's 2 hours later for me than it is for you. Mm-hmm. However, the other day I realized that I have a caffeine addiction officially. Probably caused by my new job. But the other day I had a headache so bad all day long, and finally I got rid of it by making a cup of coffee in the middle of the night. So I'm just like, whatever, I'll just drink whatever I want to drink.
That's fine. There's nothing
Caffeine
wrong with that. Maybe that's why I get headaches all the time.
Because you need caffeine?
I have headaches all the time.
Yeah.
Also prone to migraines, which is fun.
Same.
Right? We're just falling apart, but we're not really.
Anyways. Back to the people who
back
are
to
actually
murder.
falling apart.
So,
yeah.
Paul Kenneth Bernardo was... I don't know why I said it like that. Paul Kenneth Bernardo was born on August 27th, 1964 in Scarborough, Ontario. And that's a hard word for me to say. Make fun of me throughout the episode if you will. Scarborough. There's too many syllables in there.
You just gotta not say all the syllables. Just like Worcestershire.
Just like wing it.
Yeah, forget about some of the syllables. It's fine.
I appreciate you. Paul, honestly, we say this about a lot of serial killers, but Paul really didn't have a chance. His mother once told him when he was 16 years old that he was conceived illegitimately, because the same thing didn't kind of happen to Ted Bundy. Outside of the marriage that she had been a part of, and the biological father that he had grown up knowing was his father was not actually his dad. But that might not be a bad thing in my opinion.
Right?
And,
you'd think he'd be happy about it, but instead he wasn't. Like, what? Okay, anyway.
It's like, sir, your father's an asshole, and this is why. So, Paul's father, Kenneth...
not his father.
Yes, yeah, exactly. His pseudo-father throughout his life.
There we go.
Was a piece of shit. He was literal human garbage. He had at one point sexually assaulted a young girl, and his mother became so disconnected and upset with her whole life situation. She just gave up being a mom, gave up being a wife, and moved into the family's basement.
What year was he born?
He was born in 1964.
Yeah, I feel like she kind of didn't have a chance either.
Like his mom?
60s, what are you going to do?
I know.
Yeah. What are you going to do if you find yourself in that situation? Divorce him? No.
Yeah.
You don't divorce people in the 60s.
Yeah.
You're just stuck.
That's true. And mental health was stigmatized as well. So if she was...
Right. She could have hysteria and be sent to an institution.
So, she chose to move to the basement. And if that helped, fair enough. Paul was a little bit older at this point, and so was his sister. However, they were still stuck with his dad. So again, I ask, why was he upset about not sharing DNA with this man? He was actually really verbally abusive to his mother over the situation and called her all sorts of terrible names. So not helping the situation and also being exactly like your non-biological dad.
Yeah.
So... despite this less than ideal upbringing, Paul was known to be happy, polite, he was a Boy Scout, and did well in school.
He was a Boy Scout?
Does that sound like somebody else again? Ted Bundy. But some of this may have been superficial charm, because as we know, Paul had a darker side. The dark side of the moon. Sorry, I'm scrolling.
That's the song.
I don't know. I'm making up my own tune as per fucking usual.
Now that you said that, I have Mulan stuck in my head.
Sorry.
Be a Man song?
Be a man. Oh no, why did we do this to ourselves? So we've heard this a la Ted Bundy, and tale as old as time, pillar to killer. He began having dark sexual fantasies. He was known to beat and intentionally humiliate the women that he dated in his late teens, early 20s, so red flags all around. After graduating high school, Paul enrolled in the University of Toronto in 1982. During this time, he worked for Amway. He enjoyed the sales side of the jobs, and that superficial charm helped him out. He was obsessed with becoming rich and successful, and he was going to do whatever it took to get there. One of his favorite douchey hobbies during this time was he would go to bars, charm, and try and pick up as many women as he could. Sadly, he was successful a lot of the time, which, if you've seen a picture of young Paul Bernardo, it's not a good...
I literally, in my story of him, I say that he has the... Because, he really worked on his looks. And I say that he looks like a douchey boy band type.
He does. He looks exactly like a douchey boy band type.
Teeny bit like Nick Carter.
Oh my God.
Sorry,
so
Nick
much
Carter.
Like Nick Carter. Like young Nick Carter. Like young, thinner Nick Carter.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, Nick Carter doesn't listen to the show. I think we're okay.
I don't know. I don't think he's doing too hot anymore.
Maybe he is listening to the show. Maybe he needed a...
Hi, Nick Carter. Did not mean to offend. You have changed since then.
And you're not as shitty as your Canadian doppelganger.
Yes. We like you.
Yes. Yeah, so he was successful a lot of the time. This behavior would soon, unfortunately, escalate, though, and the consensual sex with random women wasn't becoming enough to satiate him. When he went on to terrorize the suburbs of Scarborough, stalking and attacking various women. He had a niche for younger women, and he stalked most of his victims.
A niche.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. You know what? I'm
gagged.
Yeah, I know. It was like, yeah.
Like, I know. Like, that's the way that these people see it in their own
But this,
fucked
I
up
delivered
minds,
it in a
but
fucked up way.
God.
I'm sorry. I was getting into the zone.
It's okay. You're a writer. It happens.
Be a man. So, yes, he typically targeted younger women, mid-teens to early 20s. He would follow them home as they got off buses late at night, as they were leaving their workplaces and walking to various locations, etc. They were usually alone, but that has some stipulations, which we will get to. And oftentimes he assaulted them within meters of their own front doors while loved ones were sleeping just inches away. He is a fucking monster. Not all of these women have come forward with their stories, so this is only a few of them. Many of these women do not have names associated with them for obvious reasons. Many of them are underage, being one of them, and you want to submit these sorts of things anonymously. These women endured all sorts of trauma and pain, and I hate him for subjecting them to this, but they did come forward and report what had happened, which is great, and this can be used against Paul Bernardo later on, but Sierra will get there eventually. So this is where, the consensual sex is no longer enough. 1987, he's going to do some terrible things. On May 4th in 1987, he followed a 21-year-old Scarborough woman home from the bus stop and to the front of her parents' house after he followed her home. He pinned her down in her front yard and raped her right there. Like, fuck.
Right there in her front yard.
Right? May 14th, so 10 days later, in 1987, he raped a 19-year-old woman in the backyard of her parents' house one evening. July 17th, 1987, he attempted to rape a young girl. Although he beat her viciously, she fought like hell, and good for her. It spooked him out a little bit. He felt like it was going to draw too much attention, and he abandoned the attack. So good for you, girl. This one is horrible. September 29th, 1987, he attempted to rape a 15-year-old girl after climbing into her bedroom window.
Jesus.
So this little girl is sleeping in her bed, and this fucking creep stands on
Little
top
girl.
of her, puts his hand over her mouth. He threatened her with a knife.
God.
He hit the side of her face, bit her ear, like, ew. He then fled the scene as soon as her mother heard the commotion in her bedroom, entered the room, and started screaming. 19-year-old Anthony Handmayer at the time was convicted of the sexual assaults. And he served 16 months in prison because of it until Paul Bernardo later confessed to this in 2006, and the 19-year-old boy was exonerated.
Why? Did they look similar or something? What the fuck?
No idea.
Oh, that poor kid.
Right? So thankfully he did confess to this one, so they were able to release him. But still, 16 months of wasted time. Like, ugh. And also, he went into this girl's bed, like, gross. And I hate home invasion things. Everybody knows this. It gives me the feeling.
I had a home invasion, if you guys haven't listened to our listener stories.
Yeah,
so
Sierra
I get
is,
that.
like, superhuman. Like, I don't understand how she's dealt with some of this shit.
I have a curse that looms over me.
Apparently.
Okay? That's what it is.
Apparently. She will just forever have a contributing story in our listener tales.
Right.
December 16th, 1987, he raped a 15-year-old girl. The next day, the Toronto police issued a warning to the women of Scarborough traveling alone at night, especially those taking public transit or coming home late in the evenings. The elusive Scarborough Rapist was out there terrorizing the town, and the police were just now, catching on.
Yeah.
In December 23rd, 1987, Paul Bernardo raped a 17-year-old girl. He lured her away from public using a knife, and this was one that he often carried with him to threaten his victims. In April of 1988, Paul Bernardo again attacked a 17-year-old girl. On May 25th, 1988, Paul Bernardo was nearly caught by a Metro Toronto investigator that was stalking one of the bus shelters because this was a known attack spot for him. Police were starting to catch on to that too, that it was women in this neighborhood late at night walking home, so of course they're going to stake out the bus stations. Although the investigator noticed Paul Bernardo hiding under a tree, spying on who would inevitably be his next victim, when he attempted to apprehend him, he pursued him on foot, but Paul Bernardo jumped over a fence and was able to escape. Yeah. So close! So many lives could have been saved.
Gracious.
Like, it's just like, if it had just stopped right there. Just right there.
Yeah.
So. And oftentimes, like the knife, one of Paul Bernardo's other scare tactics was that he would take photos of their IDs, or sometimes take their IDs with them, and threaten to come back and finish the job, essentially, if they reported him. Although many of these women came forward and reported him, not all of them did it during the Scarborough Rapist investigation time. Like, many of them were afraid to come forward.
That is super fucking creepy.
Yeah. So he would, like, remember who they were, their name, and he would say he would come back.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like, this is, like, borderlining, like, Golden State Killer behavior.
Yes. East Area Rapist, anyway, back before he was the killer.
Yeah, Visalia Ransacker. Sure. Yeah, like them, Paul Bernardo has many names, such as the Scarborough Rapist, the Schoolgirl Killer, and as we will get to, the Ken and Barbie Killers. On May 30th, 1988, so just 5 days after he was almost caught, so, like, he went balls to the walls, he didn't care. He raped an 18-year-old woman in Ontario, which was about 40 kilometers or 25 miles southwest of Scarborough. So, yes, he attacked a woman 5 days later, but he's moving a little bit outside of his comfort zone because he was almost caught. And on October 4th, 1988, he again attempted to rape a young woman in Scarborough. Although his intended victim fought him off, he inflicted 2 stab wounds to the inside of her thigh and buttocks, which required 12 stitches. So he
is escalating.
Yes, exactly. Yes, so he's escalating, and he's not afraid to use this knife, actually, anymore.
Yeah.
And, like, why are you biting people? Like, stop trying to be like Ted Bundy, okay?
Exactly.
Like, again, Boy Scout,
Ted Bundy.
pillar of the community. Dad's not his real dad. Like, I think he idolized him a little bit. I think he listened to the first episode of our podcast.
I think so.
In October of 1987, during one of his usual bar missions to pick up women, Paul Bernardo met 17-year-old Karla Homolka, an attractive blonde. I'm saying attractive in air bunnies because she had a rough go. She had a rough go.
I agree. Why do people... Okay.
I thought you were looking at me like that for a second because you were going to be like, you're an asshole.
No. Like, I agree. And so many people talk about how they were, like, a good-looking couple. And I'm like, no, but were they?
She experienced some stuff. Yeah, definite you. So, and also she's, you know, from what we know of her now, even if she was an attractive person then, knowing what you know, it takes away from that. Mm-hmm. He was attracted to her instantly. In fact, they would be having sex in a motel room within 30 minutes of this little meet cute, if you want to call it that.
Well, she's 17, so just
so
his
also
type.
Rape. Exactly. During this gross motel sex, they would learn that they both shared an interest in sadomasochist fantasies. And, you know, there's forms of BDSM that are completely consensual, that are sub-dom situations. There's nothing wrong with that. Like we said, we don't kink shame. However, what they both liked was things that were not necessarily consensual. And pretty much right from the get-go, they established this sub-dom dynamic. But before we get into that nightmare fuel that they would get on to together, we're going to talk about Karla. We're going to flash back in time to 1970 when Karla Leanne Homolka was born on May 4th in 1970, like I just said, in Port Credit, Ontario. Her father was a Czechoslovakian immigrant who worked as a traveling salesman, so he was often away working. But when...
Check him out.
Yeah. But when he wasn't away working, he was at home, unfortunately, wreaking havoc a little bit on his household. He would drink heavily, and he and Karla's mother would fight. Karla would often go to her two younger siblings and comfort them during this time. So, feel bad for the young child here in this situation. Not bad for her. Her child version self. I feel bad for. Karla also suffered from extreme asthma, which I feel her, and had to be hospitalized frequently. This was mostly due to stress-induced flare-ups, which I can tell you sucks. And it takes a great deal of stress for your body to react that way, where your chest feels really tight and you do actually have an asthma attack. I've experienced it a few times, and it sucks. So for this little girl to be experiencing them all the time because of the household that she was raised in, that's horrible.
Right.
Karla was really interested in mysteries and started reading Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew. When she was 12 years old, she was completely obsessed with true crime, which also, same, but not in the same way over here in this area.
Have you seen the new Hardy Boys TV show?
No.
Oh my god, it's so fucking
Is it?
good. It's on Hulu. You'll watch it when you come.
Yeah, I'll make a list of things I want to watch while you're working.
Yes.
Yes, guys, I'm going to see Sierra, if you didn't already know that.
Oh yeah, I think we only told patrons.
Yes, we did only tell patrons. And
she's coming.
And hopefully,
to
a month and approximately a half, I will be there.
Ooh.
So exciting. And guess who we'll be seeing while we're there?
The Jonas Brothers.
I don't know what that voice was. It was my inside girly voice, apparently.
It's great. It's great.
It's the person that wrote all those fan fictions. Your mom's gonna be like, I don't know what I signed up for here.
And my mom is there to be a designated driver and the parent that we'll probably need. Because we will be children.
Well, we're going with your child, so it seems fitting.
Well, that too.
Works for me. I'm so excited. So, like I said, Karla had a thing for true crime. She also really liked to scare people, and her methods of scaring her friends would get harsher and harsher over time. She just thought it was hilarious, but they were actually terrified at times. She grew really interested in the occult and often called on spirits while her friends were around. She would carve circles into her arms and color them in and say that they were a part of like various rituals and stuff like that. She was always acting like the group leader. She was bossy, and she decided when they were going to do something and what they were going to do in her friend group. So, I mean.
So, like, let me just say this right now, because first of all, did not know all of this information. Second of all, it hits way too close to home.
Why? Because your daughter's bossy?
I always, like, to this day, I scare the shit out of my kids on purpose because it's hilarious.
Yeah, but you're not, like, traumatizing
also, I
them.
have, as a teenager, carved things into my skin. It was an issue.
Like,
I
not
did
a
not
hurting
consider
yourself
it
thing, right?
I didn't consider it self-harm because it wasn't like, oh, I want to feel this pain. It wasn't like depression. It was just like, I wonder what happens if I burn my skin.
Okay.
Like,
so like
it was
a
weird.
morbid
It was definitely
curiosity
weird.
thing.
Yes.
Okay.
But I didn't become a killer.
That's
so
true.
she has no excuses.
That's true. That's very true.
Also, my daughter is super fucking bossy. I'll update you in the future if she becomes a killer.
Yeah, no, I think we're good there. I think she's got pretty good mom, but yeah, she's definitely bossy.
So did Karla.
She bosses Sierra around sometimes a little bit. She's sassy
so
back.
bossy.
Yeah, yeah. If you're curious about some behind the scenes footage of that kind of stuff, like
Right.
Sierra shutting the door with her shoe, you can go to patreon.com/twisted and uncorked.
She is a butt sometimes. The teachers always say that she's a really good helper.
Oh,
She's going to be a great teacher one day.
I hear that. Yeah, I definitely see that personality
She's
there.
fucking bossy.
Yep. So she's got to get the control of the class sometimes. I get
Yes.
it. She's too smart for her own good, too. But
Yes.
neither Sierra or her daughter are anything like Karla, other than their weird, morbid curiosities. And she kind of acted like a second mother figure to her younger siblings, too, when all of the turmoil was happening in her house. Yeah. So this makes me really sad. Once when she was over at her friend's house, they decided that it would be a good idea to make a parachute for her friend's pet hamster. Without testing said parachute, Karla threw the hamster. It's not funny.
It's so funny.
It's not funny.
In a way that,
This
like,
poor hamster.
kids are like, I can make this hamster parachute.
Like, me and my
they're
cousins
like,
tried to
"Oh,
make
shit.
parachutes for ourselves
Did
and
not."
jump off the balcony when we were younger, but that was
Oh my
only
God.
one story, and we failed. We're also a little bit more durable than a hamster.
It's only funny because if you think of it as innocent children, it's like, they're so naive.
But they were like
You know?
teenagers. You should know you can't throw a parachute hamster out the window. Anyways, I'm upset about it. Sierra thinks
It doesn't turn out
Funny,
good, so
no.
that part is upsetting.
yes, the
but
hamster does unfortunately perish in this parachute mission, and they bury him, as you do with your hamsters that die. I had 2 hamsters when I was little. They were so cute. But yes, it is an innocent mindset. Like I said, I tried to make a parachute for myself once, but I didn't jump out the window. Just to clarify. So if that wasn't screwed up enough already, a few weeks after burying her friend's hamster, Karla was curious to know what a decomposing body looked like, so she dug up the hamster. I understand this curiosity. However, I would let my imagination run. I would not
Right.
disturb this little hamster's place of rest. You already threw him out a window.
I can see me also being curious. Speaking of looking at a book of decomposing things, I bought my daughter she had to get composition books for school.
Yeah.
And I found one that's called a decomposition book. Because it's made of recycled materials, but I was like, decomposition?
That's funny.
That's so hilarious.
I love it.
Yes. But anyway, back to what I was about to say. One time I was walking home from school and I was in like 4th grade, and there was
Did you dig up a hamster?
No, there was a dead cat that had been ran over by a car on the side of the road, and it was really, really sad. But also, I was like, I want to see it. So like, after I examined,
Sierra, young Sierra would have bossed young Alecia around like no.
I was not bossy. Nope.
No, but you would have been like,
I was not bossy.
You would have been like, come
curious.
on, let's go look at the dead cat. And I'd be like,
no, I did it all by myself. I was walking with my sister and my cousins, and all by myself. My sister was like crying.
Yeah, that's me.
Because my sister was Alecia.
This poor cat.
She was like crying, and I was like, okay, I'll go take care of it. And I like looked at it and examined it, and then I got out my brown paper lunch bag and I put it in there. Like I scooped it with my pencil into the bag and I took it home and buried it. So like after I examined
the pet to rest.
Laid
That's
it to
nice
rest.
Of you.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
But also I wanted to see. I was like, but what's inside?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna carry this home for my own goals and then bury the cat.
Right. I was like, I am gonna be a coroner.
Yeah, you know what? I
and
admire
instead,
that.
Here I am,
a true crime
working
podcaster.
from home.
Yeah. You know what? That works. That works.
It works. It's fine.
One of my favorite coroners that in existence, Elena from Morbid. She does a true crime podcast. We had this conversation yesterday during our staircase recording, where I said I would have loved to be a forensic scientist of any form.
None of it got recorded, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because I fucked up. Hence my comments earlier. So there you go. Yeah, I want to be a forensic anything, guys. But I like structure too much because I'm boring. I'm vanilla.
Yeah. I agree.
I'm weird. But it would in other worlds. But in this world, we will be true crime podcasters. And we are very happy about it. So yeah, she wanted to see what this decomposing body looked like. Much like Sierra.
Yeah, don't dig it up. But don't dig it up. If it's there for you to see.
That's
I mean, look. But don't dig it up.
Okay, touche. That's fair. So yeah, other than, casual hamster resurrection, she also really showed a love for animals. At a very young age, she took on a part-time job at a pet store, and later on she started working at a veterinary office. She was a bright student and liked by most of her teachers. And when I say bright, I mean like her IQ was like high, like in the
98th percentile.
Yeah, like she's
That's
very
literally
smart.
A genius.
Yeah, and unfortunately, she didn't use it towards anything good.
Yeah. Sadly, that's how most geniuses.
It's actually so true. We've said that about a few serial killers over time.
Yeah.
Like Ed Kemper, fucking genius.
Yep.
But again, does not use that for good. Actually, now he is because he's helping catch serial killers, but that's separate. He's helping profile them. Watch Mindhunter, guys. Okay. But she also kind of gave zero fucks, and that's kind of partially why people were drawn to her. She would often yell swear words in the hallways just to get reactions from people. She was very free-spirited and had her own sense of self and sense of style. She liked to dress in non-conforming ways, and she didn't care what anyone thought about it, which I get it.
Again,
Sierra.
I see too many similarities of myself in her before she became an awful human being. I did not scream obscenities. I was very shy.
You didn't play the penis game in elementary school, Sierra?
Oh my god, one time in 2nd grade, I almost fucking cried my eyes out because this kid was playing, his name was Josh. Oh, what was his last name? I want to call him out so bad. Oh,
you're going to think about it in like the middle of the night.
I know. His name was Josh, though. I know that much.
Fuck you, Josh.
And he played this game. He was like, hold up 5 fingers. And it was like while the teacher was talking. And I was like, what? He's like, just do it. It's a trick. And I was like, okay, whatever. I held up 5 fingers and he kept going like counting, like just counting my fingers. And he was like, put that one down. And then he did it until I was doing this. And he was like, oh, Sierra's doing the middle finger. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I was so upset. I almost cried.
I think that's my second favorite. No, that is now my first favorite Sierra story. My second favorite was when you were saying nest to everything and said penis.
Oh, God. That was also a very embarrassing time. Anyway, all of that to say, I was a very shy person outwardly, but also I inwardly expressed myself a lot. I wore the craziest shit. In second grade, my mom let me dye my hair red. Like, second fucking grade, I had, well, it was only the tips, but I had red tips in second grade. Like, I was always like, I'm gonna wear the craziest shit. I'm gonna do the craziest shit to my own body, but I'm never gonna talk about it. Like, this is just me.
Internal
Let me express me.
expressions. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. And you assign various meaning to it and what it, I get that.
Yeah.
I was kind of like that too. But yes, again, we are nothing like Karla Homolka, and we did not grow up to kill people.
Not in now life.
Not in now life. Past
I think it was the IQ.
Yeah. Just fine. Yeah.
I wasn't smart enough to be that stupid.
Oh, I was going to say you're really smart. Oh, yeah, but that's true. Yeah, so she was bold and didn't hesitate to mingle with members of the opposite sex. She dated one boy named Doug, and admitted to experimenting with drugs and having sex with him. She often fantasized about weird situations related to death and had once attempted to cut herself with a knife during sex. So she told
not kink shaming
her friends that her first time with Doug was all sorts of crazy, when like, okay, you're in high school. What probably wasn't that crazy, but who knows? Who knows? It was vanilla. When people would ask her about the cut, she told friends that she had tried to kill herself, which also don't lie about that. Yeah. Like, that's not cool. Some of these cuts were exploratory, with her newfound interest in the occult, like I had said previously. But, there's nothing wrong with liking dark stuff. Just maybe don't mutilate yourself over it. Despite her tumultuous home life, though, Karla was actually pretty close with her dad. She learned early on that she could go to him for pretty much anything, and kind of manipulated it to her favor. When they fought. It was reminiscent of the fights that he had had with her mother. And she would call him names and like a dumb check and stuff like that. So not cool.
Oh, no.
But she learned because of, how she learned how to play him, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, that brings us to October of 1987, when 17-year-old Karla Homolka meets 23-year-old Paul Bernardo. They fell hard, they fell fast, and they were having sex within 30 minutes. We're all caught up here.
Present day in the story.
Exactly. So the two are together. Karla's family absolutely loved Paul. They were ecstatic about the pair's relationship. Even though Paul lived a few hours away in his mother's home, he would drive the 2 hours to go see Karla whenever he could. And this superficial charm, of course, worked in his favor in winning over her family, like it did with everybody else in his life. A fucked up match made in terrorizing serial killing heaven, as some would say. As all good stories start. A year into their relationship, Paul was allegedly already verbally abusing Karla, according to reports of what she had told her friends. She always brushed it off, though, and forgave him, so a healthy relationship.
The huge.
Despite all of these red flags, the pair were madly in love, and 2 years into the relationship, on December 24th, 1989, the pair became engaged at Niagara Falls. So
how
romantic.
Sweet.
During their whole relationship, though, Paul was still terrorizing women in the Scarborough area, and then coming to visit her and being an asshole, and then going back and being an asshole. And he was already an established rapist piece of shit. Again, how all good stories start. So more of the attacks that had occurred during his relationship with Karla include November 16th, 1988. He raped an 18-year-old woman in the backyard of her parents' house when her parents weren't home. On November 17th, 1988, a day later, Metro Police formed a task force to capture the Scarborough Rapist. So they were ramping up a year later after they almost got him at a bus stop. December 27th, 1988, he attempted a rape of a 16-year-old girl, but one of the neighbors scared Bernardo off once he heard the commotion and came outside. June 20th, 1989, he attempted to rape a young woman who fought and screamed and alerted neighbors, and again, he ran from the neighborhood with scratches on his face. And when asked how he got these scratches by one of Karla's family members, he told them that he had gotten scratched by his cat. He does not have a cat. August 15th, 1989, he raped a 22-year-old woman. He stalked her outside of her apartment window the night prior, waiting for her to come home before this. So no thank you. November 21st, 1989, he raped a 15-year-old girl that he saw waiting at a bus shelter to go home, and then just, like, left her at the bus shelter.
So ridiculous.
Because he's a piece of shit. December 22nd, 1989, he raped a 19-year-old woman again. So that brings us up to the engagement of Paul and Karla. He's still doing all this shit while they're together. Ugh.
Yeah. How gross.
In early 1990, he attempted to rape a 19-year-old woman. His victims started to come forward at this point, and they had vivid recollections about the way that their attacker looked, and they were able to create a computer composite portrait. And 2 days later, it was published in the newspapers all over Toronto, and hundreds of tips came in, including 3 where people thought it was Paul Bernardo. And that is the insane part to me. So, you know, they're working their way through the list. They call Paul Bernardo in for his questioning, and he's like, yeah. Superficial charm rolls in. He's like, yeah, I do. I guess I kind of do look like that composite sketch. But, you know, it's, you know, like a general looking face. But, like, I don't mind giving you guys my semen and my DNA. Like, I have no issue with that at all. I just want this person caught. So within a 35-minute interview, the police were buying all of his bullshit. They took his DNA, but unfortunately, because DNA testing was super new in 1990, there were only a few registered scientists that were able to perform testing to be able to extract DNA at this time, so it went to the bottom of the pile of hundreds of tips.
Yeah.
And he kind of just lucked out, but that just goes to show you how cocky he is. He was literally sitting there and he's like, sure, take my DNA, knowing full well when they test it, they are going to catch him. Like,
yeah,
who
but
the
he's like,
fuck thinks
they're
like
not
that?
even gonna test
Yeah, he's
it,
like,
no
I'm
way.
smarter than you. So,
yeah, Ted Bundy-esque again.
Right? It's not a good look. To add to this glowing rap sheet, Paul had lost his job at Amway shortly after their engagement, and took a job, air quotes, smuggling cigarettes across the Canadian border into the U.S. And of course, the Homolka family knew nothing of this. They still loved him so much, especially Karla's younger sister, Tammy, who was 15 years old at the time. She looked at Paul as sort of a brotherly figure, and whenever Paul and Karla were over, he would invite Tammy to hang out with them, and of course he's charming and he's just being a good boyfriend, but his love for Tammy was very different than her love for him, and that nightmare is where we are going to end part 1. So stay tuned for next week when Sierra will take it from here.
Yeah.
That is a scary, scary, scary mess that I want to be nowhere near.
That is the Scarborough Rapist. But what about the schoolgirl murderer?
That he is also known for.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Come back.
Yeah, please come back. I mean,
while you wait for the next episode, you can check out all of the cool shit we have on Patreon, because holy shit, there's a lot.
Yeah, right now, if you sign up, you unlock 56 different things.
Oh,
that's insane.
My goodness. So many things. $5, unlock a shit ton of stuff.
Yes. And
it's insane.
It's whimsical and fun on there too, in terms of names and design. So go look at it.
Yes.
And if you want to support the show in a different way, after you go and check that out at least, you can leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts specifically. There's now 320 of you listening on there. So get to it, baby. Get to it. Yes.
Also, aren't we doing like some special stuff for those?
Yes, we are. We might be. Also on Podchaser, if you don't have an Apple product, I get you. I have an Android. Sierra leaves all of the reviews on our behalf. But yes, you can do that on Podchaser as well, and that gets you entered to win a merch item at the end of August of your choice. You get to go in the store and pick what you want. So it
So
really helps us more
cool.
than you know. It puts us on various lists where people can discover us amongst all of the amazing podcasts that are out there. And we really appreciate that. So you can leave us a review like this. Love you, ladies. Hello, this podcast is awesome. I love how y'all joke with each other. The wine reviews are great, and the cases you cover are very thorough and complete. This is one of my very favorite podcasts, and this is from Lila17 in the United States on Apple Podcasts.
Oh,
Thank you so much, Lila.
Thank you.
So, just if you feel so inclined, guys, you can leave us an emoji too. We're good with that. Last week I told people you could trap them in your car and get them to listen to our podcast. And again, we shouldn't do that.
Don't trap people in
Don't
your
do
car,
that,
but do tell people to listen.
Yes, tell your friends and family. And
Tag us on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. Tag us to your friends. Let them know where to find us.
yes, we love you guys lots. Thank you so, so much for listening. And we'll see you next week for another episode. But today is what, Sierra?
Today is August 3rd. Happy August 3rd, everyone. Today in history isn't that great, but it is my mom's birthday.
So happy birthday, Mom!
Yes. Everybody wish my mom a happy birthday.
Yeah, God,
Thanks.
guys. And just a reminder for you guys to follow us on all socials and stuff for more fun facts like this and photos and that
Like
kind
my
of
mom's
stuff.
birthday.
Also, check out our website because you can now listen to all of our episodes on there. And I worked really hard on it, so I would appreciate that. Okay.
Yeah, please, thanks, Kate.
We'll see you next week for another episode. And in the meantime,
Keep it twisted.
Thank you for listening to Twisted and Uncorked Podcast. Remember, if you like the show, to go leave us a 5-star rating and review. We couldn't do it without you guys. Now stay tuned to hear about another cool podcast.
Hey everyone, if you like true crime stories mixed with a bit of sarcasm and personal opinion, then come check us out.
We are Beth and Christy from Crimes and Closets. We tell each other stories of real crimes as we hide in our closets,
850 miles apart.
from our children and the world with drinks in hand. So if that sounds fun to you, come join us in our closets every Monday.
And always remember, the world is scary, people suck, hide in your closets.